Anymore. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Glenn Lawrence, and I'm here with the one and only Mr. Lawrence D. Adams. What's going
What,
on, man?
what's going on? That's crazy. I just thought about it. Glenn Lawrence and Lawrence D. Adams.
Yeah. Like it's just like we got that Lawrence thing going on.
That's right. That is.
We vibing.
Yep.
So I mean, dude, I've caught a couple of your episodes. I actually hopped on a stream with you. You were doing one time, and we were chatting it up. Um, and we have a lot similar ideals, when it comes to, relationships, when it comes to, just like the regular problems that we see people have these days. Like people have a lot, like couples have a lot of problems,
Mhm.
and the current dating world is a shit show. Relationships are a shit show. And, so we're going to just chop it up like what we see from our perspective
Mhm.
on why people are struggling with relationships.
Sounds good.
You know, yo, what's going on, Danny? Man, how you doing, man? I was supposed to be up there today, but Danny, my flight got canceled because I guess apparently you guys are all snowed in. So, yeah, kind of sucks. But so back to it. Tell me how long you been in this space, dude. Like you've been in it for a minute, right?
I've actually been doing what I've been doing since 2007. So I actually started with Blog Talk Radio, then went from Blog Talk Radio over to YouTube, and then from YouTube over. That's what 2009. So
Wow.
2009. I've been doing this. So it's been a minute since I'm doing it. I've been doing it on when MySpace was going.
Oh man, that's back when I was. Hey, yeah, I used to be an MC, so I used to open up for like Bone Thugs and Harmony, um, you know, Caponiac, a couple other guys from the West Coast, and so that's when MySpace days when we put up our music on there and try to get some radio play and stuff.
Mhm.
That's crazy. So you've been doing this for a minute now. Like you've been doing this over 20 years.
It's
Oh
been a
no, close to 20 years, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it a while, man. I've been doing this for a while, and that's the interesting thing. I actually enjoy doing it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
So how did you get into it? Like what brought you into it? Did you go through like as Rollo Tomasi would say, like a zeroing out scenario, and then you kind of found your way into this space, or were you in part of the red pill space before it was red pill, or how
I
did that happen?
yeah, I was in it before it was defined as red pill. So I started back since 2007. At that time, I was married, divorced, and I started searching. So I started listening to different people and things like that. And finally, I said, you know what? I want to do it myself and have my own. So I got on Blog Talk Radio, and I was nervous. And the first show I ever did, I never forgot, was "Do Women Love Nice Guys?" That was my first show I ever did. And so that was my first show, and I began to just build from there. I had different co-hosts, women, men, things like that. But I just kept trucking through. Now I dropped off for a couple years, then came back, but now I've just been full force ever since then. But I've been doing it for a while. But that was my introduction to this space. And when I first started, to be clear, I was talking to the women, and then do some stuff that I went through. I said, you know what? I need to change because the issue is, let me deal with the men who are the men because they are the head. And if I deal with the head, guess what they're going to do? They're going to affect the women. And so that made my turn into this space dealing with the men.
Do you think like that method is still that resonates?
Talking to,
That approach, like addressing the men when it comes to relationship issues.
yeah, because a lot of guys, I mean, just be very clear, a lot of guys didn't have their fathers or somebody who was solid, who was going to teach them how to effectively deal with themselves and how to deal with a woman. A lot of things they got is from the streets, they got from a movie, they got from somebody who didn't know anything or somebody who had a failed relationship. So here you go, it didn't work out for them. So they get a lot of information that's just erroneous.
Yeah. See, because like I think like when I look at it, it's like that's half the problem.
Mhm.
Because like if we let's say like you are having a problem and I'm addressing you about your relationship, right? So I'm telling you, this is what you need to do to fix you. But I never address her, or she never gets addressed on what she needs to do to fix her. Because, I'm sorry, like I don't believe that one party always is the reason why the relationship fails. Even when it comes to guys. Like now, I believe both parties are equally responsible for the failure of any relationship. It goes both ways. It takes two to fuck it up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the approach from, at least from my background, the Christian church typically is, as your method was, is go to the guy. We're going to deal with you. If I fix you, then those underneath you will be fixed too. It will the trickle down effect. And I've come to the conclusion, like, although that can work, the it's almost like a proverb. It's like, if you build it, they will come. If you become the good husband, she will respect you.
Right.
And I don't necessarily see that always working out the way it should, ideally.
I agree. And that's where where I'm at the space now where I deal with the men, but I have no problem at all putting my thumb on the issues that women bring to the table too. Because I think a lot of times, a lot of men are afraid to do it because of this council culture or what somebody's going to say. And they address the men, but they don't want to address the women and say, hey, what you're doing, lady, it's not going to work for a man. And it is interesting. A lot of women who come to me behind the scenes, oh, why is it not working with my husband? What you just said and how you said it, he's not going to receive that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, for some reason, well, men have stopped being men, I want to say, for the last 30 years. They have become this new male. I want to call it the feminine men. Okay. And women have become masculine women in the process. And you're right. A lot of it has to do with the fathers not being in the home, not having a male role model to model after. Not really. I mean, even the way that we teach our kids is not good for their development as it is. I think for us being one of the most powerful nations in the world, we have one of the most porous education systems. Kids are learning more about transgender this and women's rights that when it comes to what's really going on, they're not learning basic math. Like they're not learning how to use proper language and history. It just doesn't work the way that they were doing it. And I agree. I think more men need to be. I think they minimize the value of men or even fathers in the roles of kids, either whether it's your own children that you're raising, or if it's you're a teacher, a male teacher in the classroom. I think they minimize the value that having men in these spaces have, which tends to lead to this new development of boys or males that are not men in definition. So that does have a huge role involved. I think when we look at the problem of failed relationships, one, there's failure to, there's covert contracts, meaning like, there's expectations that you're expecting to receive without the other party knowing that you're expecting to receive these things if they do X, Y, and Z for you.
Right.
And I think that sets people up for failure. I think also when you look at the fact that the way that this egalitarian, let's just call it what it is. This whole idea that men and women are equal, I don't know where they get it from. I think it's a lie that they created themselves just to make themselves feel special. But it's proven time and time again that it's not true. Yeah. So I think that mindset as well plays a huge role in how relationships are, falling apart. What do you think?
I completely agree. I think what happened is we have Disney-fied, if I was to make up a word, Disney-fied relationships, and we have not really shared that it takes work, it takes a commitment, it takes you knowing you you knowing her knowing herself, that it takes something to do it. We made it seem so glamorous and so pretty. Not saying that it isn't, but that is, oh, it's just gonna just come together. No, it takes work. When I was married, it took work for us to be together. And we think of sometimes we think of work, we think as laborious or something that's hard. No, it means that we had to really communicate. We had to
There's times that it took more than it just didn't come natural.
No.
It took more than you think at times, but it wasn't laborious.
No, it wasn't laborious at all. And that's what I think a lot of people think when they say, oh, it takes work, I don't want to do it, especially guys. No, man, what it's going to do is take for you actually saying, hey, I'm going to open up because she's opening up, and we're going to work together to make this union work. And I think a lot of people, especially in these spaces, are afraid to admit that they really want a relationship with a woman.
Yeah, you know what? There's a couple things that I find in this space that I just don't align with, and you know, the whole thing with the red pill, it's a praxeology. So that means, you know, basically, and I love the way Rollo says it at times. He's like, hey, these are just tools. Mm-hmm. Take the tools that you feel that you need and that you want, and use them, put them in your tool belt, and apply them when you need them.
That's right.
You don't have to do everything that everyone says that's in the red pill. You just do what works for you. And I find like certain rhetoric is just not productive. Like every guy is not going to be an alpha. Let's just call it what it is. Here's the thing. The minute I hear somebody tell me that they're an alpha as fuck, this 47, 28, lone wolf pack, you know, howling at the moon type of shit, I'm like, okay, you just told me how much an alpha you're not.
Correct.
Same thing with the boss babe. If I hear another woman call themselves a boss babe and I find out that you're on welfare, okay, you are not bossing shit.
Right.
It's these false, you know, things that they feel like they have to be. I have to be an alpha. Well, it's great to have alpha qualities. It's a great to have alpha traits. Absolutely. Women are attracted to men with alpha traits. 100%. You don't have to be completely an asshole to do that, though. You could still have your what they would consider blue pill or beta qualities in the sense of how you treat a woman, you know, and still be considered an alpha man. You know, like you don't have to be all the way over here. It's like, they're so polarized. It's either you're way over here or you're way over there.
Right. Nobody knows how to bring it all together. Because when I hear people say, oh, I'm alpha this, I'm alpha that, that's a sure, like you say, it's a sure sign that you are not alpha, because the alpha does not announce that he's an alpha. His presence, his character, what he says, and how he moves shows that he's an alpha. Second of all, another thing is we are so polarized being beta that no one knows how to treat a woman right.
Yeah.
It is not beta to get a woman flower if you coming from an alpha mindset.
Exactly. It's like they destroy the whole idea of understanding what frame is. Like if it's in my frame to treat the woman in my life a certain way and give her certain things, because that's my frame, that works for me, that's my mission, that's my goal, that's what I want. I'm not being forced to do it, or nobody's telling me I have to do it. It's something that I choose to do. Then that's the most alpha decision I make. Just because you think not, that's your business. I don't care what you think. You know, it's like people are so concerned, like, I can't look like a simp. You know, like, oh, I took my girl out for shopping, I can't look like a simp. Like, you know, like, bro, dude, you took your girl out for shopping. That's cool. Have fun. Pieces. You know, like, why does it matter? But it's like, you know, you got some guys in here that like will say, like, you know, alphas do X, Y, and Z. I heard somebody, I'm not gonna throw names out there, but I heard somebody say, like, you know, alphas don't care if their women orgasm. And I'm just like,
really?
I take pride in that shit. Okay. Like, my goal is to be the best.
Right.
Okay. The whole point of being alpha widowed is the guy was so goddamn good in bed that you are only thinking about him after that.
Right.
So when you say alphas don't give a rat's butt about pleasing a woman, I'm just like, that doesn't sound congruent with being alpha widowed.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you the craziest thing. A lot of times, these people who say I'm being alpha, if you were to check their relationship account, they have 0 in it. They have not dealt with a woman, so they're only dealing with precepts, ideologies, and perceptions that they think work with women, but they never been with a real woman. They're normally stuck online and they don't go out there in the real world and deal with real women. I got time in for dealing with real women. It's a difference. And you can hear it in the way the person deals with the individual or deal with the woman. You deal with a woman, I can't be like, get over here, do this. I'm gonna slap you down the steps. I'm going to jail in a few minutes or so. But I can be like, hey, we go in this direction. Let's do this. Okay, baby, I got you. I'm being who I am, but guess what? Doesn't mean I'm losing myself of being beta.
Yep. Shout out to Lawrence. I think he's one of your guys.
Yeah.
What's going on, Lawrence? Appreciate you coming by, checking out the show. You know, I find interesting is like, so besides that, and the idea of, I just think there's a lot of like, this space could be really good for a lot of guys. And the problem with this space, we're going to get into the relationships aspect here in a minute, but the problem with this space is that it, as much good as it does, the good tends to be clouded behind, you know, beefs. Also it's clouded behind, you know, people changing things that make them look better, right? You know, you got some guys saying that, oh, you don't need to do this, or you know what, you should do this. Body counts don't matter. Body counts matter. Like, you know, you're a beta if you think body counts matter. You're not a beta. It's only right to think about body counts. It's like there's no consistency in when it comes in this space, and you get guys that are trying to figure this out and trying to figure out relationships and trying to figure out how to move, and then they just lose it. They don't understand. And I think that's where the content creators in this space have a responsibility, right, to either preference what they say correctly. You know, if you're saying, well, body counts don't matter if you're just looking to hook up with chicks, that makes sense. Because it's just looking for booty calls. You're looking for one night stands. You're not looking for anything serious. Then I could say, you know what? Yeah, her body count doesn't matter. But if you're saying, hey, if you're getting into a relationship with a woman, body counts might matter. Because why? Because of pair bonding and how, you know, the chemicals that are in pair bonding kind of get damaged. The brain gets rewired. There's science to prove that. Then you're like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. In that context, that makes sense. But what we do is like, you get people saying like little clips and stuff of things that are half truths without giving the full understanding of it. And you get guys, you know, lost. You know, and then every other content creator is in a beef with somebody else. It seems like there's always a beef.
Right. And that's I don't even deal with the beefs, because I realize what happens is it takes you off of your mission of what you were designed to do for your channel. There's going to always be people who like you, dislike you, troll or don't troll. It comes with the territory, because your message, whatever it may be, is going to shed light onto them of their insecurities, inadequacies, or whatever's wrong with them. And they're going to say, well, let me cover that up by attacking you. And so it comes with the territory. So I realize a lot of men get caught up like schoolgirls. What's going on, Renee? Get caught up like schoolgirls. And guess what they do? They end up beefing with each other, and they miss the message of what manhood is. Because like Renee is here right now, women are watching.
Yeah, these spaces are full with women. You think these women are not in these spaces? Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. They want to know how you're going to play them. They want to know how you're going to move. You don't think they're going to do their homework? I mean, the best investigators I've ever met was a woman that was looking for somebody, some dirt on a man. Okay, let's just call it what it is.
Right.
They will research, they will study the game better than you would, and they will know the game before you do. Okay, right. So of course, women are understanding. They're looking, they're paying attention, and if they just see us being crazy and not making sense and being all disruptive and going back and forth with each other, you know, if I was a feminist, I'd be like, oh, I love this shit. Let's just keep them doing that, because you know what? This just works right in our plan. Right. We don't want them to be on the same page. We want them to beef. Let's just keep that up. Let's just keep on adding fuel to the fire to that shit, because we don't got to worry about talking about anything against them, because they're killing themselves off.
Dude, it happens all. I've watched it for years. That's why I think I told Alfie, I say, watch about a certain time of year, you're gonna see some guys gonna get into it. It's just like clockwork. Someone didn't like what this said. Someone didn't like what MLD said. Someone didn't like what this one said. The black pills. You know what? I stay clear away from that. Not that I don't know what's going on, but I don't have time for it. I'm a grown man. We're grown kids. What do I look like beefing with another dude about some ideology? I don't even know you. You don't even know. Like my one coworker said, you barely know my name.
Seriously. See, the problem that I have gone on a couple people. I'm not gonna lie. I've debated a couple people. I've debated like Playing with Fire. I debated Kevin Ray Wilder. And my thing is like, if you are not going to quote someone accurately, if somebody's body of work you're going to use to criticize and you're not going to quote it accurately, and you're going to approach it from the position of an opinion, but try to claim it's a fact, well, then I'm going to challenge that, because it's important that we are, and I hold myself to this too. Anything that I say on a stream, I will have some form of evidence to support where I found it, where it says, here's the article, here's the book, whatever it is. Here's the scripture, whatever they want me to say, like to show as evidence, I will provide the evidence, because I feel that gives more credibility to what you're saying. It shows that you're not just giving your opinion, and you're not just, saying shit right out of your mouth. You are actually, these are something that's verifiable. And I think in this space, there's not enough verifiable things anymore. It used to be. I mean, Rollo's body of work is verifiable. You got a lot of other people's body of work, like Aaron Clary's work, verifiable. You could look at their citations. You could look at the resources to gather their information. You could see how they come to that conclusion. But nowadays, people are just shouting things out of the mouth. And I'm just like, that's not congruent with anything, So, I mean, I have gone off on a couple people like, look, prove it to me, and then we're good. If you can't prove it to me, then shut the fuck up. Like, because I just think they're doing more damage than good. And I just want to clear the space of like the nonsense. I mean, I'm not here to police anybody, but when I think that there's messaging that's being sent out there that is negative in the sense because they don't like a specific individual, so they're trying to demonize their work or trying to minimize the value of their work when their work actually does good for people. I'm like, look, man, let's just call it what it is. You're just jealous. Yeah. Let's just stop being jealous, and then we can move on. But there's guys in this space that seriously need help.
Yeah.
That really want help. That really want to save their marriage. That really want to, have a relationship with a woman. And if content creators are on here, this platform, there's a sense of responsibility that we have to have. Yes. And understand that like we are responsible for the shit that comes out of our mouth. And what people do with it, that's a whole nother thing. But there's a responsibility that we have.
Alfie acts crazy.
Alfie's in the building. Yeah, that's the homie. That's the homie.
Yeah, but there's a great responsibility that comes with sharing any content. I am a stickler like you when it comes to saying something in the correct context. Do not give me half truths, half what you said, what this person said, snippets of what this person said, and then you put another snippet together and try to argue me on the point. That was one of my things I used to do on Facebook before. On Facebook, a lot of women would come after me. Oh, you said this, you said that. I'm like, wait a minute. Did you hear me say this in context? Don't take it out of context of what I'm saying. Don't bring in a Bible scripture that don't apply to what I'm talking about.
Oh man, that's the worst one. That's the worst one. Okay, coming with a degree in religion, like all the hours that I spent in studying, if you come out with a scripture and you take it out of context, I'll be the first one in your chat just start going off on you.
I don't like that. I especially trained, like you said, being trained, and it's easy because people are used to not having their opinion challenged. And we live in that culture of entitlement that my opinion matters and don't you dare challenge it. But if your opinion...
Repeat that one more time. Could you repeat that one last time? That last whole part.
We live in a culture where people are not used to being challenged. And so we have a group of people who are entitled that my opinion matters no matter what. That's dangerous.
Exactly. You said it. I can't believe you like literally took the thoughts out of my head, because like that's exactly what it is that people don't want their thoughts to be challenged or their opinion to be challenged. How dare you? How dare you even challenge my thoughts? Where do they get that from?
Right. And it makes me think of his name is Dr. Henry Clark. He says, I debate with my equals, and all others I teach. Some people are not even qualified to even come up here to even debate with us because they don't even have the experience now or the background that we both have, especially in the Bible, life.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Damn word to us.
Yep. And you know, it's funny that since we brought the Bible up, and I was telling you earlier, you know, I think the reason why relationships are so damaged where they're at right now is, one, personally, if you don't have to believe in the Bible, but if you decide to use the Bible as a reference, you know, to examine stories and see how things were successful and see how things were failed, you know, and just use it as a reference, right? Then I think you still get the great good out of it. You don't necessarily have to, again, you don't have to believe in God or in everything, but if you just use it as a tool to see what a good life looks like, that I think that's beneficial to everybody. Now, for those that are in faith, I look at it as like, if you are not playing the roles of a husband according to the scripture, and or you're not playing the role as a wife according to the scripture, not the interpretation of, you know, the what they call themselves, the evangelical feminists, or, you know, the feminist side of the church. Like, if you don't apply according to the way it was written and how it was written, then you're going to have chaos. You're going to have problems. Things may work for a while, but there will be a struggle. I used the analogy earlier with you that it's like if your car requires 91 premium gas tank, you know, gas, and you keep on filling it up with 87. Now, it will run for a while, but over time, the engine will be working harder. It's going to get dirtier. You're going to have more problems under the hood. And outside, it'll look perfect. Your car looks clean outside, but under the hood, there's going to be more problems, and it's going to break down eventually. And it's going to you're not going to get as far with that vehicle as you could have if you would have done it correctly. And I don't see people applying those basic understanding of relationships according to how the scriptures will lay them out, even in the church. And we're seeing the divorce rate in the church not too far behind the people that are not Christians.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of times even in the church, we have glamorized marriage, relationships, and not realizing that the Bible actually gives the blueprint on how to have a successful relationship, first with God, with yourself, and then with everyone else around you, and especially in a relationship. It's giving you example after example after example from Genesis to Revelation on how to have a successful relationship with God, yourself, and with the woman, because we're talking to men, with the woman that you want to be with. If you would just look at the example and not get all spiritual and fall out, speaking tongues backwards and forwards, and and do everything else, and realize that, hey, this is showing me if Proverbs will get you so right and get you.
You know, I read Proverbs every day.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not like, again, I'm not as active in the church as I used to be. Like I said, I used to be a youth pastor, and you know, I was on board. I was literally filling in on Sundays when the pastor was gone. You know, I was on the pastoral board. You know, and when since I'm not there no more, like, I mean, I still hold the values of it to the letter, but I realize, like, you know, the church is part of the problem in this sense, because they teach certain things in the Bible. And actually, really what it was is I heard this from someone else, and they hit it right on the head. It's like the church is not teaching the entire congregation. It's not preaching or discipling to the entire congregation. They're only talking to the men. Husbands, love your wives. But when it comes to wives, submit to your husbands in everything. They kind of gloss over that part. They're like, husbands, you need to love your wives as Christ loved the church. You need to do better, husbands. And husbands are like, okay, I'm gotta do better. But if you don't address the fact that wives, if you're not being submissive to your men, that's going to cause calamity and chaos. And it doesn't say like you could be submissive when you choose to. No, it says submit to him in everything. So I hear pastors even say like, ladies, you need to let your husband lead. No, you don't get to let him lead. He is supposed to lead. That's his ordained position. And if we don't point that out and make that a point to see like, look, you don't have this. When you got married, you surrendered your independence and your authority that you had over individual self, and you handed it to him. That's the part of the submission. And just like as a believer, handed over his choice to choose life this way or life that way by following Jesus. So it's like there's a handover of authority that you do, ladies, that your husband is supposed to have. But if he doesn't have that, it's like a police officer with no badge. What good is he?
I'm gonna say that because I'm from the church and I know it. What has happened is the church has become the surrogate husband to women. And what we have experienced is the church is afraid of the woman in the church because she's the one bringing all the financials into the church. So I don't want to stir her up. If I say these things, it will make her upset and make her leave. So the church, not the church as the spiritual church, but the church as the building,
as the local body,
has become afraid because they don't want to stir up the pot, because they know if they stir up the pot, they may lose the pocketbook that comes into the local church.
Oh, absolutely. Think about how many programs that the average local church has. And one of them is probably a men's breakfast once a month. But I guarantee you they'll have like 12 or 14 different mommy and me classes, Christian yoga, book club, all these different programs for women. But men get once a month, if that. And that's also because, men don't really gather unless we need to. Unless like, hey, I need my car worked on. Lawrence, can you come over and help me work on my car? Yeah, cool. Then we'll chop it up and we'll get down to business about things. But it takes an action, an activity for us to do to make guys gather on average. Women just want to gather just to gossip. So of course they want to gather, so it's the approach as well. But you're right. Like, if we don't do things, if we're taking things away from the church is not fulfilled. It's all about accountability. If you really think about it, all of this stems down to accountability. The church is failing to be accountable to its flock. All right. So now the flock is not having anybody be accountable to them. And then on top of that, husbands failed to be accountable to their role from the beginning, which led to what we see now. Right. But now we have it on the opposite end, where it doesn't matter whether or not the husband is actually being accountable. The wives are no longer choosing to be accountable and no longer willing to choose to play their role. So now you gave them that power. They have that power and that freedom now to do whatever they want. And it's like, how do you get them to want to surrender that? You're not going to unless they choose to surrender that.
Right. Because submission is a choice.
Oh, yeah. And there's a difference between obedience and submission.
Yeah.
How would you define the difference between obedience and submission?
Wow. Just to play on a word, submission is, of course, being under someone's mission. Obedience is just, both of them are a choice. And it's been a while since I looked at the definitions of them, so forgive me on that part. But obedience is something that is, to me, is more sacred. Something that I reverence, I'm going to be obedient to.
I look at it kind of like the opposite.
Okay.
Here's why. Here's why I say it's like obedience is like this. When I was younger, I was told to clean my room. Did I always want to? No. but I wanted to go out with my friends later on that night. So I, reluctantly cleaned my room so I wasn't punished. So I was only complying because I wanted something or I didn't want to receive something, which was the consequence. Now, submission is the desire to be obedient. So it's like, they don't even have to tell me to clean my room. My room's already clean.
Right.
I'm submitting to the authority above me and just preemptively doing it without having to be told to do it. That's where submission is, like the desire to be obedient rather than being forced to be obedient.
Gotcha.
And when I look at it that way, it's like, man, think about it, because that's exactly the way, if you look at, if you want to use Jesus as an example, he submitted his godly earthly authority to God, and he went to the cross. He said, hey, look, if this cup could pass me, let it go by. But if not, let thy will be done. Right. And we all know the story, how it ended. That's submission. Now, obedience is like, gosh, fine, just nail me already. There's a difference of purpose. There's a difference of approach, right?
Correct.
So I think like we use the word submission and we don't realize that it's when it comes to women, it's like they think it's this servitude, this slavery, and it's not. It's like it's the ultimate display of respect and love to your husband.
I agree with that completely. And think about it. If a woman is being think about it, the rewards, we never share with women the rewards of being submitted to me as a man. So a lot of men will say, I want you to submit, but they never tell her, when you submit, baby, this is what's going to happen. That's going to be taking place. This is going to be you protection. You got guidance. You got leadership. Your submission has a reward attached to it. And I think we need to actually put those two together, say, you know what? Submission has a reward system to it.
It's like they have to see the vision. If they're not able to see the vision and understand why they're submitting, if they feel like they're being submitting because that you have this governing authority, then they're going to challenge that. They're going to question it, right? But if they see the picture, then that makes the submission more, willingly to do it. It's also, you bring up a point that I have this topic I mentioned before. I said there's a difference between men in control and controlling men. Okay, and a man in control knows that he has no control over anybody but himself. But a controlling man is going to try to force control onto others, right? And I'd say the best way to look at it is that a man in control is a man that's in his own frame, right? So if this is the standard that I want my spouse or my partner to be with me, these are the expectations and the boundaries that I have for my relationship, and she just doesn't want to do that. She wants to step outside of that. I'm not controlling her. I'm not telling her she can't. But what I can do is say, because you do this, I'm not going to be with you. This relationship is over. You crossed the boundary. Oh, you're being controlling. No, I'm not being controlling. I'm just telling you what I'm not going to allow in my life. And that's not controlling. I'm only controlling myself. I'm not controlling you, and it's, you have the choice and decide how you want to move. How much do you value this relationship? Do you value it enough to where that you're willing to surrender those things and live in this frame? If not, then you're free to be with whoever you want, but that's how I think it's supposed to be. I think that's how I think even God does it. It's like, look, this is the way, this is how I need you to live. You live like this, you're going to have this kind of life. If you don't, well, that's your choice. I can't guarantee, I can't help you outside of that, and he's not controlling you. He gives you free will. We have free will for a reason. If God is not even abusing the free will that he's given us, why do men think that they could be controlling and abuse the free will that they don't have authority to abuse?
Man, you preaching right now. Well, that's good, because you know why? A lot of men have that mixed up because they don't know how to control themselves. That's where the problem is.
It starts with self first.
Yeah. When you learn how to control when I know how to control Lawrence D. Adams, guess what? I don't have to worry about controlling her. Like you said, she fits in my frame. my structure. If she doesn't, guess what? You can control yourself right out of here.
Yeah. It's like most of the time women will out themselves, or whoever is leading the relationship will out themselves. They will remove themselves from you. And the thing is, when they do that, people try to control them in it. They're like, no, 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 let them go. They realize that your frame is not adapting to what they want. So let them leave. Stop trying to force them into submission. Forcing people into submission does not work. It never does. It has to be a choice. And this is where I feel bad for the guys and I feel bad for the women, because modern day women are taught to not to do anything for the express pleasure of a man. Okay. And they're, I think, what's her name? Singer, one of the main feminist ladies from back in the day, some old lady with a bunch of cats, probably, said something along those lines, like, ladies, don't do anything for the express pleasure of a man. And now that's been ramped up. And it's to the point where when women do something nice for a guy, or when women decide that they want to set themselves apart from other women and be more attractive to a man in the ways of being submissive, being, polite, just the feminine things that men find. What women don't understand is, like, we don't care about your job. We don't care about what you do. We really don't care, because we do things too. Okay. And when we get into a relationship, we go in there knowing that, guess what? I'm the one that's going to be providing for her. That's my responsibility. So what you do, your job, it doesn't matter to me. But what matters to me is, like, are you kind? Are you sweet? Are you not? Are you complimentary? Are you not going to argue with me over everything? Are you going to play your position as a feminine wife, partner? If not, I don't care how much money you got in your bank. I'm just not going to be with you.
Yeah, that's so true. But that's why I go by the 3 P's. That's just my 3 P's. Peace, peace, and peace. I'm already have a peace of mind. So you can't, I don't need you. I need you to add to my peace that I already have. I need a piece of pie, cake, something cooked, whatever the case may be. And I need a piece in that bedroom.
You got a piece of ass, piece of pie, piece of my house.
I promise you, if those 3 P's a man would do cartwheels just for those things. Somebody brought that to my attention today. She said, you know what? I ain't worried about no other woman, because you know why? She can't give you the peace that I'm giving you right now. I said, oh, really? I had to really look at her. She knows that she's bringing value to my life and that no one can take her position.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, guys tell women that they need to, that he wants a woman to be his peace. And I tell guys all the time, no, she just can't disrupt your peace. Okay. You facilitate your peace, but she cannot be one to disrupt it. Meaning she cannot be bringing things in that's going to cause calamity. She's supposed to be a helpmate. So if you have already facilitated the peace, she's supposed to help that peace maintain, not bring it in for you, fellas. Like, I don't get that. And a woman, I think it was, Thor, right? Okay, so me and Thor do a lot of work together. I'm on the dragon ship with him, and I remember his letter from his wife, Missy, that he wrote, and he was asking her, like, what do you bring to the table? Just asking her, and she said, I bring your legacy. Dude,
come on,
man. Women typically go, I am the table. What are you talking about? Like, I'm me. I'm the prize. And the way that she responded, it showed humility and showed value in him. Like, I bring your legacy. That's what I bring. And it just, that right there is mind blowing. And if women understand that, like, that role right there, yes, you could be as sexy as hell as you want. You could have the most banging body. In 20 years, that body ain't going to be banging. It's going to be banged up. Okay. And, that's just because that's how life is.
Yes.
But what do you bring outside of that? If you have no value outside of that, then everybody's going to just think you're for the streets.
Yeah. And that's what I think a lot of women don't understand. They don't understand their intrinsic value that they bring to a man. The Bible talks about it in Timothy, and I can't think of where it is. The woman, adorn yourself on it's what's in the inside of you, not on the so much on the outside. It's the woman on the inside that causes a man to say, you know what, I'm here for the long haul. I'm here. And I think what happened is we are so focused on BBLs and lips and hips and tips, which I don't got nothing. I don't like BBLs, but I like all the rest of the stuff.
Like look, guys, those are all great qualities to have. Like, I mean, initially, that's what you're looking for to get it on with.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of guys, you know, mistake game for real game. Like, they think because they could get a whole bunch of bodies in bed, that's real game. No, real game is able to maintain a relationship, keep that woman wanting to maintain herself in your frame over an extensive period of time. Okay, so if you have real game, that means you could have a relationship with a woman that she chooses every day for the rest of your lives, that she picks you every day. That's real game.
That right there is the test of real game. What you just said right there, all this, I got games, I can do this. Anybody can acquire anything, but it's your ability to maintain shows what? That your game.
Longevity. That shows longevity.
Bruh, I'm telling you, it's one thing for me to get the car that I have. There's another thing for me to have it for a year later. That means I'm able to maintain that particular luxury car.
And you know what that means that you're doing? That means you're paying the cost to be the boss.
Come on.
Paying the cost to be the boss.
Dude.
Too many guys don't want to pay the cost to be the boss every day. They don't want to be consistent in it every day and do what's necessary every day to play that role. They think that, oh, I did it yesterday, that should give me at least 3, 4, 5 days. And then they fall off, they're inconsistent. And then women are like, look, women need security. If you guys are not being consistent in what you're doing, then you are now giving her reason to question your position. And there's far too often, men, we have dropped the ball in that area. Hands down, I know I can admit it, you know, but at the same time, ladies need to stop looking for every little thing. Oh, he didn't put his socks away the right way. He's being inconsistent. You know what? I know he's working late tonight, but he said he was going to take out the trash. So now I got to take out the trash. So now he's being inconsistent. No, ladies, don't look for the most stupidest things to try to claim inconsistency.
Right. Yeah, that's not.
Don't be that petty.
No, because what's going to happen is Proverbs talk about a woman tearing down her own house. And too many women, especially in 2022, are tearing up their own house and wondering why they naked and alone by themselves.
Man, that's the most realist thing today is that, you know, years ago, I would say, like, you know what? It was guys that were dropping the ball, failing, not necessarily meeting the standard. And today I realized, you know what, ladies, it doesn't even, I was telling my girl this. I was like, it doesn't even matter if we got every guy in the world to stop watching porn and stop, you know, looking at OnlyFans and all that stuff. It wouldn't matter if we made every man a gentleman today. If I came out with a course and every guy took it and they become the most upstanding gentleman there is, it wouldn't matter. Because at that point, the women that are alive around would not be valuable enough for them to settle with. Because it takes change on both sides. And this is where women and men in this space tend to not realize is that it takes two. Like, my ex-wife cheated on me several times, and I didn't know it until the last time that I found out about all of them. And what I realized is that the reason, one, why she did it is there's failure on my part. I didn't recognize either the red flags, or I chose to ignore the red flags to appease her. I wasn't one living in my frame. So my failure to play my position the way that I was supposed to be playing it may have led to that bad behavior. Now, I can't say for an absolute fact that it did, but I could say that because I know that I have failed in that area at times, that it may have contributed. So that's my bad. I have to take that ownership. But it's not, guys are just like, oh yeah, she's just for the street. She's just a 304. She's just a hoe. Yes, absolutely. Her actions are doing that. Cool. But what did you do? Did you either miss the fact that she was a hoe? Did you ignore her promiscuity? Did you encourage it? Did you facilitate an environment where that behavior was deemed acceptable? And guys don't realize that just because she did something foul doesn't mean that you didn't contribute somehow.
Let's see. Now what's going on, Yahoo? Let me say this. Now, this is when I go into the esoteric stuff. And because I've been on both sides of the cheater and the cheated. Where I had to look, where in me have I been cheating on me for me to manifest her cheating on me?
That was it. Profound.
Let me say that again for those in the back of the stadium. Where in me have I been cheating on me for the reflection of her to cheat on me, for to show up, and then vice versa? You can only attract not what you want, but who you are. On some level, I was cheating myself. So she just said, you know what? I'm going to show you. Jim Bob over here is going to get the D.
She's saying, you know what? I'm going to reflect the value that you show me about you. I'm going to show you the same value that you show yourself.
Dude, right there. Most guys don't want to take that gospel responsibility because they're afraid to look in the mirror and say, hey, wait a minute. I might be the hoe that I might be attracting hoes anyway.
Exactly. The reason why you were dealing with hoes is because you are a hoe. It's like, you're not the repellent. You're not pushing them away. It's crazy. And here's the other thing is, like, ladies, do you know why you're losing men? The reason why women are losing men left and right is because for the longest time, you have been working on becoming the men that you want to marry.
Whoa.
That's a Rollo Tomasi quote.
Whoa.
Okay, ladies, you are so focused on becoming the men that you want to marry that you are passing up the men that you actually want to marry.
That right there. Go to the scripture back in Proverbs. He that findeth a wife, not he that findeth a husband that pretends to be a wife.
Yep.
To find what? Favor, some fun favor, and the question.
Yeah, it finds like
find a wife good thing and
he who finds a wife finds she's like a crown or the jewel on the crown of his head. Yep.
But he can't be a jewel crown on the head if you're trying to be the head.
Exactly, because that crown be too big for you to carry. Heavy is the crown.
Right.
They don't realize that.
Dude, right there, what Rolly Tomasi said right there. Too many women are trying to be the man that they want to marry. And that's dangerous. Actually, it's a turnoff because I can't be.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the biggest turnoff in the world.
Yeah.
It's like it's equivalent to two guys dating. It's gay. We see it as gay.
Woo!
Simple as that. Ladies, if you are trying to be the alpha boss babe woman, you're turning us off. No matter how sexy your exterior is, in the inside, in our brains, we're like, this is a dude. I don't care what the body says, but this is a dude. Okay? And we get gay vibes. Get gay vibes from it.
Because somebody got to be the sub.
Yeah. So somebody got to be the wife. We can't have two husbands. That's gay. Just not going to work.
And what we're seeing is, like you were saying earlier, you were seeing a lot of men who are selling in to be the husband, and we have a lot of women selling in to be in the husband. A lot of men who are selling to be the wives, and a lot of women who are selling to be the husband in the relationship, and they're throwing the polarity off in the relationship. Right. Thank you, Yahoo. We gave the scripture. Proverbs 18:22. That's my resident scholar, runs Bible scholar right there.
There it is.
to find a wife finds what is good and receives
Receive favor from the Lord. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And and like it baffles me. It's just like people like, you want success in relationship. That's what we hear in the space all the time. We hear more than anything, people want to have good relationships, interactions. I know more guys in this space are not here because they want to bang bad bitches. They actually want to find a woman they could be in a relationship with. And they get clouded and blinded by all these other things, these 304s, don't mess with these women. They're bad over here. Like, no. Like, I get it. Yes, they're out there. But it really determines on who do you attract?
Yeah.
If you are attracting nothing but 304s, the problem's not the 304s. The 304s are going to be 304s. The problem is going to be you.
Dude, and that right there, that is the part where I'm constantly taking my axe and chopping it at, because I'm saying, look in the mirror. If you keep attracting women who's dogging you out, then you go make a video. All these women like this. Every woman in the United States ain't like that.
The thing is, they mistake the fact that, like, they say, well, all women are hypergamous. Absolutely. All women could be hypergamous. But guess what? All women could choose not to be hypergamous. They could choose not to. Hypergamy is not like a mandatory thing that they have to act on. Oh my God, I'm hypergamous. All of a sudden, I got to cheat. Like, no. It's a choice. They still get to choose. Although they may get the inclined desire or interest to do so, they get the choice to not act on it. There is still personal responsibility that they could take, just like men. Men, guess what? Just because a hot piece of ass is walking by you doesn't mean like, oh, my innate mating strategy is kicking in. I got to go spread some seed. No, You get to choose whether you want to or not. It's a choice. Regardless if the desire is kicking in, you still choose whether you want to act on it or not.
And that's what I think a lot of people miss. And you said something so profound. I got to repeat it. And it's so true. A lot of guys secretly or openly, but I'm going to say secretly, really just want to have a good woman and they can have a good life. Everybody can't be a player pimp. I'm tired of this. I want to be a pimp. I want to be a player. I want to be a Mac mentality. Everyone can't be that. Can't do it.
And not everybody should.
No.
Like, I mean, I know guys that date multiple women at a time, and see, like, this is how you know you have real game. All right. And if you really want to talk about it like that, in that aspect, being a player, I have a friend that dates women, and he's married, and his woman talks to the other women for him. He's not hiding it from her.
Right.
She knows exactly the scenario that they do. That's what they chose. That's the lifestyle that they chose to live. And she fits in his frame. He's not creeping on the low. He's not hiding his phone. He's not, setting up another app to send text messages to. He's not using Telegram to Snapchat with his booty call and leaving his number for his old lady. No, he is 100% real to her. She's the one responding to his other girls on his phone for him. Hey, can you send her so-and-so this? Yeah. That's being authentic. That's being honest. And here's the other thing. Too many guys try to play the nice guy, right? And they're I think the nice guys, honestly, are the worst guys in the world. Okay? Because they play the game like women play the game. And what I mean by that is they play it through manipulation and deception. And I'm not trying to say women are all manipulative and deceptive, but when you think about it this way, men are created more physically dominantly strong. That means we are more overt and we tend to enforce our will through strength, physical strength. Now, a woman can't compete with that. So they had to figure out a way to be able to maneuver in a way that she could protect herself, but also, if she needs to create distance or get away from a threat, it doesn't come off combative. So they had to develop the skill set of manipulation and deception. It was for survival.
Yes.
So these are skill set that women tend to have that tend to operate with men is manipulation and deception, right? Cloak and dagger type of stuff. That's why guys say like, oh, she's sending me mixed signals. Well, because she's not being direct with you, or she is being direct with you. You're just not seeing it. But these nice guys, let me tell you something about these nice guys. These nice guys are the dudes that pretend to be the good boy. That to pretend that, oh, I just want to get to know you. You know, like, oh, you want to go on long walks in the park? I like that shit too. You want to watch a chick flick? Shit, I got tons of them at home. We can watch The Notebook.
Never.
You know, they play that card, and then as soon as they get what they want, they're gone. They're gone. And the reason why they play that way is because they know that they are not the guy that would go, if she saw him, that she would be like, I want to jump his bones right now. So since they fail to level up and become that guy, they use manipulation, which is a female tactic, on women. And that's why women hate men that do that so much, is because they beat them at their own game.
And I'll be honest, man, I didn't dealt with numbers. Women love men who are direct and honest about the interaction. If I can show the messages, the receipts, as most people want to say on these YouTube streets, of the women say, I wish more men would be more direct and more honest with me than what they are. I'm tired of this, like you saying, these playing these games. Let's walk on the beach. No, I don't want to walk on the beach. I want to get to your beach. Plain and simple. She has to say
what it is.
Yeah. Then she has a choice. What? Guess what? I don't want to play. I don't want you to play on that beach, but I don't want to do this. Good. I can leave then, because that's not what I want to do. She has a choice. Many times when you being the nice guy, I'm like you, Yahoo, putting that scripture right there, Deuteronomy 30 and 19. I call heaven and earth a witness against you that you have set before you life and death, blessing and curse, and therefore choose life that you and your offspring may live. Deuteronomy 30 and 19. We rob women of the ability to make a choice because we ain't being honest. Just be honest. Say what you want. Women, you will be surprised what a woman would do if you just straight up and say, hey, I don't want greens. I don't want fries. I want chicken wings from Wingstop. That's what I got today. Wingstop.
So. No, you're right. It's like, you know, if men are supposed to be the standard bearer, but they're not being the standard, then by default, you're allowing women to come up with their own standard. And now that they're going to enforce that. And now you find yourself in a position where you're trying to meet their standard. When it's never been that way. See, men are supposed to be the gatekeepers of relationships. Okay? We don't have a relationship unless I say we do. So, when it comes to men deferring that authority, see, here's the thing. The problem is guys put so much emphasis on what's in between their legs, right? That they will give up heaven and earth for 30 seconds. It's like they will surrender their title, their headship for that. I mean, think about everybody in the Bible that has surrendered or failed to uphold what God has told them to do. Samson, don't tell nobody about where your strength comes from. Okay. Delilah nagging. Okay, fine. Here it is. All of a sudden, what happens? He surrendered his headship. He lost his strength. Now, eventually, again, in his death, he got his strength back one last time after getting his eyes plucked out, and then he ended up killing all. But he went through hell to regain it, and it was short-lived.
Did you catch what you just said, though, man? We're gonna vibe with the Bible stuff, dude. They plucked his eyes out. He lost his vision. They had to guide him to push the pillars to kill the Philistines. Too many guys are losing their vision. Why? Because they're cutting covenant with their dick and don't even know it.
They're looking for that one eye wonder instead of using the two eyes they have on their head. And that one eye only can see about 6 inches, so you ain't gonna see very far.
Dude, That's the problem. And I can say, because I failed there. I've been there. You looking at it, I'll be the first one to say it. I was driven by my lower nature that I didn't allow my higher nature vision to see that this particular woman or this particular situation was trying to take me down.
You know what's funny is that, and I'm not trying to, throw shade on women,
Mhm.
but fellas, you guys know that the Bible is like the first red pill book ever written. Like it literally is, from the beginning to the end. It tells you. I mean, 1/3 of the book of Proverbs are warnings about women. If you guys didn't think that it was important enough, if it wasn't important at all, they wouldn't dedicate 1/3 of Proverbs about warnings when it comes to women. But too many, you know what? It's like every guy is stuck. That like seems like no guy has read Proverbs 7 when it talks about be wary of that promiscuous woman. Don't go to her house.
Uh-oh.
Don't lay on that bed.
Uh-oh.
There's a reason for it. Her chambers lead to death.
Oh.
But no. They don't see that. They just gloss right over that. Ladies, you guys also be stuck on reading what is it? Oh, it's Ecclesiastes when they're talking about his anatomy and how he was hung like a horse, and like you guys are missing everything. It's like if you guys realize, and what I'm trying to get to is like when it comes to relationships and the failure of them, it's that we have gotten so far away from applying the principles and the structure that relationships were ordained and given us to in the manner that they were delivered in. And it's because we're not operating in the way that we're supposed to. We're playing positions that are out of order.
Yes.
And when you have any system that is not running smoothly, when all cylinders are not firing correctly, when each part of the machine is not playing its position, if they swapped roles, it may work. It may still function to a degree. But over time, the fact that they are not in its proper place, playing its proper position, it's going to wear out faster. It's going to break down and it's going to fail. It's that simple.
Yes.
It's not what red pill content creators tell you. It's not what these feminists are going to tell you. Okay? Because I get it. I am very red pill. Everybody knows that. Everybody comes to my channel will tell you I will clown anybody. And I will call out women, I call out men, I call them out equally. And I have no problem doing that. Because when I look at things and I say, look, everybody's fucked up. That's just how it is. Nobody's playing their role. You're not playing your position. Everybody's trying to be Michael and nobody wants to play Pippin. Okay? Pippin led Michael to championships. Michael didn't get there by himself. Ladies, play Pippin. Play Pippin. You're over here.
Right. That's so true. And what happens is people don't realize that the Bible, and I know it's real cliche is what I'm about to say, but it is the owner's manual to a healthy relationship. Not a book of story of history and the history of Jesus and the history of these people in here. Here is our owner's manual on how you can have a successful relationship with you, God, and her. That's where we missing it at. And most time when something goes wrong with the car, the first thing we're going to do is what? Check the owner's manual and go to the dealership and say, hey, something's not working right. So many people have not checked the owner's manual and they're not going back to the dealership. And so they go and junk that car and jump into another one and never dealt with the relationship or the messed up car that they were in before.
Yeah, it's like they never took the time to read the responsibilities of that ownership. See, every owner has, and here's the other thing. I don't want guys to think that you're to blame for every problem in a relationship. I hate when I hear, especially pastors or anybody say that, like, well, it's the man's fault. There's a difference between fault and responsibility. Okay. If your woman cheats on you, That's not your fault. She chose to do the action, but you actually have the responsibility to make a decision on how to deal with that. There's the difference. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. When it comes to your household, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility how you move and how you choose to move afterwards. So there's a huge difference in understand that. I think that needs to really be said clearly, because a lot of guys will take that, well, I didn't do it, why do I got to fix it? It has nothing to do with who did it, but it's your responsibility to fix it at the end of the day. And whatever that fix is, whether that means you work on the relationship or you end the relationship, is entirely your decision. But at the end of the day, you have to act. Stop waiting and looking for her to act and wait and see, well, I'm going to see how she moves. No, you lead the move.
Correct. And I think a lot of guys are afraid to do that because they have been tied up by their dick and don't even know it.
Again, it's like they put too much emphasis on maintaining sexual access, that again, it's like more men are like Samson, willing to sell and trade their authority, their power, the source of their power, their headship, for the hoping and opportunity to gain access to the legs.
And not realizing if you do not do that, because Samson had a wife and he had side chicks, to be honest with you. Look at the Bible.
Yep.
So that wasn't even an issue. But if you're driven by your lower nature, you will pluck your own eyes out and kill yourself, figuratively, if you do not get a hold of who you are. And then second of all, just flip it a little bit because I know time is elapsing. We got to deal with the Delilah spirit that's here to trap men from fulfilling their purpose.
Read Proverbs 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. It's true, because we could tell men, again, that's why I said it's never a one approach. There's not a one side approach when it comes to relationships. It's never just address the men. It's address both of them. Ladies, if you are being promiscuous, if you're in this hookup culture and you're hooking up left and right, you know that you are, in a way, you are removing yourself from being what guys want. You're disqualifying yourself. And boss bitches, if you want to be a boss lady, if you got the bag, you're all about that, then you also are disqualifying yourself. And that's fine. But I just want you to know, if that's the choices that you make, then you have to live with the consequences that is. You're successful. You're a star. You're up there. CEO. Great. Congratulations. But in that pursuit of that, just remember what you chose to sacrifice. Yeah. This world, we can't have our cake and eat it too. All right. None of us can. All right. And the few that do get it, it's because they're in a position that the average American and average human is not. They have that luxury. It's not fair. It's life. Get over it. But if women really want to have a good relationship with men, and here's the two-step, and we'll wrap it up after this, but we'll both get our last words on it, and then we'll wrap it up. This is how I look at it. It's like, men, you need to be the men that you're supposed to be. Not this feminine men. Okay? Not this ridiculous, super maxed out alpha dog wolf pack over here. Okay? Because that may just be attractive to sleep with, but no woman is going to want to commit to you because they know that you're not willing to commit anyways. So if you're not even offering something that they could see that they want to attach themselves to, other than the physical aspect, you're not valuable. So guys need to be the men that lead, that are decisive, that will not surrender their position. Remember your headship. If you do not submit, you don't surrender your headship, and you maintain your frame, you are better off that way alone. Even Paul said that you're better off alone, okay, in serving God than you are, get in a relationship, because when you get in a relationship, it struggles, it's difficulty. But if you are able to maintain that frame, if you're able to be that man who you ought to be, regardless whether a woman's in your life or not, be that man, you're going to have a better opportunity and better situations when it comes to women than you are if you are trying to please that woman. If you are willing to surrender your authority, your headship to attract her, then you are going to lose her by the same way that you have gained her. Ladies, if you're unwilling to submit, not in the servitude way, but in the way that you're saying, I am trusting you to guide us, I am giving you that position of authority to direct us, just like it says in the Bible, in all things. If you're unwilling to do that, then you have to admit that you're unwilling to be in a relationship, and that's okay. But you have to acknowledge that from within. The main problem that most people have is that they don't want to look within. They always project out, and they never realize, one, the guy is not being the man that he's supposed to be. Two, the woman is not being submissive like she's supposed to be. And that's the real core problem. It's not all the people out in the world. It comes down to you.
Right there, I'll put my pen right, put my feather right there. I agree. As I would say, it all starts within. It's your relationship with yourself that determines the relationship that you're going to have with everyone else around you. It is very important. It is very important that we begin to look in the mirror. It's easy to look at the superstars and what they're doing and what they're not doing. But until I look in the mirror and say, this is what I want. And let me sort of say this too. Be honest about what you want in a relationship. And if you want one, if you don't. Some men and some women are not being honest about what they really want. I think we covered that already, but I have to say it again. Just be honest. Be honest about it. Then you will enjoy the fruits of your honesty. And I think it's very important, as you said, that we hold men accountable and we hold women accountable. That's why I teach the gospel of responsibility. I say everybody get the belt, whether you like it or not. Everybody's going.
Yeah, line it up.
Everybody's getting it, because then what happens is no one feels slighted, and everyone gets the correction that they need so that they can have a healthy relationship. And that's what people really want at the end of the day, Glenn. I promise you. Everybody wants a healthy relationship. You got to have a healthy relationship with yourself first in order to have a healthy relationship with someone else. And because when you have a healthy relationship with yourself, what happens is you're going to attract the what? You should be able to attract the right type of women into your life.
Yeah.
We talk again first.
It shouldn't be difficult. It should not be difficult. And see, this is my girl right here, Coco. And you know, it's amazing when you go from not having a woman that understands that to a woman that understands it, and you see how seamless it could be. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be bumps. There's always gonna be issues, but you can see overall, you're like, it's smooth sailing. Like the engine is running, it's purring. Okay, like I don't have to jump the battery every day. You know, like it's going good. And one more thing I was going to mention, and I'm pretty sure you agree with this, is that another reason why I see relationships failing the way they are, and a lot of guys talk negatively about marriage in this space, and I understand it, you know, and I don't necessarily think that men have a problem with marriage, is that they have the problem with the way we do divorce. The problem is not marriage. The problem is the divorce and how easily it's attainable. It used to be had to be a reason. Even in the Bible said there had to be a reason, and it was infidelity.
Yes.
Okay, that was the only reason. And then, you know, in our state laws used to say, you know what, you had to have a fault to have a divorce. There had to have been some infraction, something that was egregious to cause the divorce. Now it's like, you know what, I don't like his breath, I'm out. You know, I don't like her bunions on her feet, I'm out. And it's like, that was never acceptable before. Until we realize that we cannot not like the way that we do divorce, and then until we decide, you know, we need to address the way that we do a divorce in America, you're not going to get the value of the marriage back. The marriage value has decreased because the way that we do divorce, they go hand in hand.
Yes, they do.
You can't be divorced unless you were married. So they have to go hand in hand.
Dude, you completely. I'm spoken. You're right on the money, especially coming from a person who was divorced.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I dealt with it, child support, and all of it. I did all that. But one thing I realized, what you're saying is so powerful. The reason why let me repeat it. The reason why men are not walking down the aisle because they don't want to walk down to the courtroom. They don't want to deal with the what's going on, Wade? What's going on, Fear? So they don't want to deal with the what? The way the state rips apart men in the divorce court. And you got a lot of men who are saying, I'd rather just opt out and not get married at all.
Well, let me answer this question real quick. It is actually infidelity. And yes, Jesus says, because the Pharisees come to Jesus and they ask Jesus, like, hey, can I just divorce my wife for any reason? And then Jesus said to them, no, divorce was never a thing, basically. But because Moses wrote this law, I say to you, if anyone divorces their wife for anything outside of adultery, then they have caused her to become an adulteress, or whoever gets with her is an adulteress, and whoever they get with is now an adulteress. And then Paul writes another reason for divorce after Jesus went to heaven, and that was simply, if you marry somebody, then you're unequally yoked. That means that you're a believer and they're not a believer, and they choose to leave you, they choose to abandon you, then you have no obligation to maintain that covenant. It's no longer, God's not holding you accountable for that. But they have to leave, not you get to leave. They have to leave you. If they choose to stay, then you got to stay. That's what it is. So those are the only two places in the Bible where divorce is permitted. And if you look at that, yes, relationships may have been rougher, they may have difficulties like every other relationships, but they worked. They made sure that they worked because there was something of value. They understood the value of the marriage. Today, we look at marriage like fast food. Okay, we could go through a drive-through, go in and go out, and it'd be nothing.
That's true. Dude, you're right on the money about that.
I think until we actually, as a society, look at divorce in a way that it needs to be addressed, I don't think we're going to really see the huge movement that what we would desire to see. That, or people just not get married through the state. You could get covenantal divorce or marriages. You could get marriages. What's up, HUDs? You could get marriages through your religious, groups, and have a covenant marriage. You can have a promised marriage, whatever you want. But as long as God's involved, you're good. Because nowhere in the Bible it says thou shalt get married with the state.
Nah, it never said that. And it's funny you said that, because I just seen somebody speak about the importance of not getting married through the state and how it's beneficial for the woman and for the man when they don't do the state route. And that only time the state is involved is because they want to get it's a financial gain for them.
Oh yeah, the state only getting involved because they get to tax you guys. There's money to be made in it when you go through the state.
Yeah,
it's just another way to get money out of you.
Yeah, right.
And there's ways that you could be married in a covenantal marriage without the state, where your spouse still gets all the insurance benefits, all the property benefits, gets all the same rights as they would if they were going through the state. Yeah. There's ways to set that up, and there's ways to protect both parties if for whatever reason they feel like it's going to go the wrong way. Yeah. So it is. But you know what, Lawrence, man, this was a great chat, man. Like almost an hour and a half. We'd love to do this again with you. Great to connect, and we'll have to get you on the Dragon Ship panel one of these days.
Yeah,
with Thor.
Yes, that's my dude. We've been on the panel on it before. Great dude. So yeah, we definitely. I thank you for having me on. Oh, well, thanks for having us. Oh, we were both on each other channel.
Yeah, we're on both channels.
Yeah, so this was good.
This was great. Wade, what'd you say? Doesn't the Bible say that? Hold on. Didn't the Bible say subject to the laws of the land, and that means that you have to get marriage license? No, that does not mean, because even you don't have to even get married with you don't even have to get marriage license now to be considered married with the state. That's why they have what is it, common law. Okay, common law, it means after so many years they are going to look at the two of you as a married couple. That in common law, that they are the people that you're with have the same legal rights in essence as they would if you were married through the state. So no, common that doesn't apply here from a biblical standpoint, at least to my knowledge. I mean, I could be wrong, but at least for far as much as I know, it doesn't apply. But to everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. You know, Lawrence, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I see you got your Christmas sweater on, so
yeah, it's my ugly Christmas sweater I had to get, you know.
Hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas. Yes. And we'll chat soon, bro.
Yes, we will. All right. Peace.
Peace.